All right, Rick, let's talk about the rookie quarterbacks who went 1, 2, and 4. Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson. We're going to start in Houston, where Anthony Richardson faced off against CJ Stroud. CJ was questionable, I believe, early in the week with a shoulder. He ended up playing that game, throwing the ball 47 times, so I guess the shoulder's okay. Anthony left with a concussion, and this is becoming a theme. First game, he took on Josh Allen, the edge rusher for Jacksonville, and got stonewalled, and that hurt late in the game. This game, he had the 2 rushing touchdowns. The second time, he banged his head on the turf. And you can say whether it's turf, I think it was grass, it wouldn't have mattered. He would have been concussed. He landed pretty hard. And let's start with that. So Jalen Hurts, and Debo had talked about this on the Sunday Night podcast. Jalen Hurts is really good at avoiding hits. Russ Wilson is really good at avoiding hits. RG3, was not. And that was part of the reason his career was shortened. And I know I've asked you this before, but how do you sort of drill into Anthony's head that you got to be less available to get destroyed against NFL football players?
Yeah, it's just got to be smart. And you just have to show them examples of other quarterbacks and what they do, especially with the unique physical ability that he has, because you have to stay healthy. Because there's no question, watching this game here, the freak athlete continues to show up week in, out. The quarterback draw, he goes in untouched. I understand, where he gets hit, but he doesn't have to take that hit. He's still going to score, or if he dives into the end zone, just avoid as many hits as you can. Live to play another down. And you don't have to truck guys because they're a little different breed of cat up here in the NFL.
Right.
The collegiate level, and they're going to whack you if they get an opportunity to whack you. And so I think once he learns that, and I think this is all great teaching points, then he's going to be pretty unique and pretty special. But you don't do the same things as a runner that you did in college. And I think he will eventually learn that. Hopefully getting hurt the first 2 weeks of the season will get the message into his head.
He's a smart kid, and he's a very, by all accounts,
I'm the biggest, as Pete calls me, a meathead, thick through the head that takes me a few reps before I figure out that, hey, you can't do that anymore.
Right.
Actually go around the wall. Don't run through the damn brick wall. Why? It's this time.
But, I think part of it is that he grew up in Florida. I don't think he left home at all. I think he's like a hometown kid and very focused on football, a very like, aw shucks, Mayberry type guy. He's not glitz and glamour from what I understand. And he's laser focused on football. And I'm sure the competitive spirit, and we saw all that competitiveness at times show itself with the frustration of not doing what he thinks he's capable of. But I think you have to be extremely happy with where he is in his development when he's on the field and some of the decisions he's making, throwing the football as well, if you're Shane Steichen.
The freak thing that I thought was incredible was that he scrambled to his left, and he actually threw it with his left hand. It wasn't a complete pass, but
that's a heady play. Like, he's not trying to complete the ball. He's like, let me get out of bounds.
Yeah, and that was a great heads-up play of avoiding a sack. And he actually threw the ball pretty good left-handed. So,
my comp for him left-handed is Tim Tebow. Had to get that in.
Okay, great.
I lost you.
The arm talent is incredible. The accuracy is still off on some throws. He's getting better, getting through his progressions.
Yeah.
You can almost we'll talk about all three of these guys, but it's kind of fun to watch the maturation process of these guys as they continue to go. But I think Anthony Richardson will learn, and he's learning it the hard way. But he will learn to be smarter instead of taking some of the unnecessary hits that he needs to take.
Okay, let's talk about the quarterback on the other side of the field. CJ Stroud, the number 2 overall pick, 30-47 for 384 and 2 touchdowns. We talked last week about his debut against the Ravens, which was up and down, and understandably so. The Ravens were getting after it. I thought he did some good things as the game progressed. I'll be honest, I only watched the broadcast of these 3 quarterbacks. I didn't have time to get to it because Devo gave me so much homework, and I was also just traveling from the Stanford trip. So you have to give me the Cliff's notes of and it sounds like you were impressed with CJ's development from week 1 to week 2.
Oh my God. I remember this kid made probably the biggest strides out of any of these young quarterbacks from what we saw in that New England first preseason game.
Oh yeah. Remember that? He threw a terrible interception. That's right.
To where he's at right now. He is so much more poised in the pocket. And again, he's getting rattled pretty good. They're getting a lot of pressure on him. But the one thing that I really noticed that he has taken strides in is when he feels that pressure coming on the outside. A lot of these young quarterbacks, because they were just better athletes than what they faced in college, would kind of try to scramble around outside that rush,
Yep.
hitching up into the pocket. And that's a sign that this kid's starting to get it. So as pressure comes on his outside, you see him hitch up and take a couple steps up in the pocket, keeping his eyes down field and making some incredible throws. Now they're not all of them aren't taking a lot of shots downfield, but he's at that intermediate level, and some of the timing throws that he's hitting between the numbers at the 15 to 20-yard mark is
Yeah.
very good. He can make the throws outside the hash. He is athletic enough to make plays with his feet. I think this kid, Anthony Richardson, is showing because of he's such a great athlete. And we'll talk about Bryce Young, but this kid has made huge strides, and his accuracy has much improved. If you wanted to say, he wasn't the athlete that Justin Fields was coming out, because we really didn't see his athleticism. That was one of the knocks on him coming out in the draft.
Yeah.
That Georgia game. Now you're seeing that, but he is a much better thrower than Justin Fields is, in my opinion.
No, that's right. We said that repeatedly during the draft process. He will throw with anticipation, which is, a sort of a drum we continue to beat. Debo makes note that right now, Anthony Richardson has the second favorite odds to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. I don't know who number one is, but I can guess.
Yeah, no, it's your low-hanging fruit guy.
It rhymes with Bijan Robinson. All right, let's talk about Bryce. Again, I just watched the game last night while I was doing the CBS Sports HQ, so I didn't get to see it closely. He had that fumble in the first half that you can't happen. You like to see him throw the ball on time, but I haven't gone back and watched it with the details. Just my initial TV impressions was that he didn't make a lot of improvement from week one. I was okay with week one, other than 2 interceptions, of course. But how did it look to you when you went back and watched his throws?
I thought he did make a step forward this week when I watched.
He did, yes?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
He moves around well in the pocket. He was pressured a lot. He's getting the ball out. The one thing that I noticed on one particular throw, he was getting ready to throw the ball in the middle of the field. Last week, Jesse Bates got him twice on that.
Yep.
One he recocked because he read that guy. So to me,
okay,
that's a sign of growth. But he made some nice throws, especially late in the game. Threw a great route down the field. Then he threw the touchdown to Thielen. Then it was typical Bryce rolling to his right on 2-point conversion and patient, and then dumping in at the last second for the 2-point conversion. Does he still have to grow? Yeah. Did he miss some throws? Yes. He can't turn the ball over when he scrambled. That 3 points, they were in field goal range right before the half. That 3 points ended up costing them the game. But I think he's continuing to grow as well. I was really impressed with where we saw these guys in week one of the preseason, because we've been watching these guys.
Yeah.
And where they're at now and where they're going to be 5 weeks from now, where they're going to be at the end of the season.
Yeah, I'll go back and watch these guys this week, and I'll be caught up to speed there. But that's a good point. Anthony Richardson had that sort of weird interception early on in the Bills game in the preseason. We talked about C.J. Stroud's pick against the Patriots, and Bryce was running for his life in that preseason opener. I don't even remember who they were playing, but he didn't stand a chance in the handful of times he was on the field.